Come on, did you think we wouldn't notice? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 video game plot holes that made no sense. To be clear, these are not plot twists that didn't work or missed the mark somehow, but rather gaps in logic, ambiguous details, and outright confusing moments in games that just don't make any sense. And yes, this list will include spoilers, obviously.
There's something I have to tell you. It's about Alice.
Number 10. Elena can find Nate anywhere. Uncharted Drake's Fortune and Uncharted 4 A Thief's End.
Do you realize that this could be like the biggest story of the year? Hi.
There's a lot of hidden skills that Elena has that isn't disclosed in the games. One of them is that she has a habit of stealing Jeeps, and the other is that she seems to always know where Nate is. In the first game, Elena is abandoned by Nate and Sully in Panama with no indication of where they're going. Yet, she's able to find Nate in the middle of the Amazon with no specification or whereabouts in this 5.5 million square kilometer rainforest.
What the hell are you doing here?
Listen, I'm a good enough reporter to follow a couple of no-luck tomb robbers.
He went this way. I'm radio ahead.
But if that sounds absurd, she does it again in Uncharted 4. This time, she finds him in the middle of the jungle on an island he was shipwrecked on that just so happens to hold a lost ancient city. Does she have a Nate tracker app or something?
How did you, find me anyway?
Oh, you know, easy. Just follow the sound of gunfire.
Number 9. Snake. Why did it have to be Snake? Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
Snake, leave this to me. I'll go to the server room.
The climax of MGS4 has Snake being forced to enter a hallway full of microwaves, all while his allies are fighting for their lives outside as the badly injured soldier slowly makes his way to the other side. It's powerful, it's dramatic, but it was also unnecessary.
It's my duty to put an end to all of this.
All right.
Raiden was also about to enter the room as he has a mechanical body, thus could have withstood the heat. Yet, the excuse that he's written up of why it has to be Snake is,
Your body may be a machine, but your heart is human.
dude, that's so weak! Raiden can run extremely fast, so any exposure he'd endure would be minimal and recoverable. Otacon's mini Metal Gear also goes in the room, so putting metal in there clearly isn't an issue either. So all of this extra fighting is for one man's honor? It's a bit selfish, don't you think?
So this is GW.
Number 8. Paititi Civil War, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
As the rebel leader, I have to be careful.
Deposed Queen Unuratu is leading a rebellion, except she's doing it right out in the open and none of the bad guys seem to care. But suddenly, when it's convenient for the plot, they do take notice and arrest her son.
There's the little rebel prince.
Meanwhile, the main villain Dominguez's motives also make no sense, but they had to tie into this game somehow, so we learned that he became leader of Trinity to protect his village from the outside world by remaking all of reality? What? That's a bit excessive, don't you think?
I ensure you that Paititi will persevere and thrive forever!
Number 7. Future Technology, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zeroes, and The Phantom Pain. Despite taking place in the 1980s, that far surpassed what was on offer decades later during the Shadow Moses incident in 2005. Just look at the Fulton extraction system or the upright Metal Gear Sahelanthropus that Liquid Snake stole.
Goodbye, father.
Surely these would have shown up in later adventures, and yet they were nowhere to be found. Oh, and let's not forget the holographic iDroid, just so named with a lowercase I, 2 whole decades before Apple made that trend a thing. Yes, we're being nitpicky here, but in terms of narrative, it just doesn't make any sense. Number 6. Song of Storms Time Paradox, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Honestly, we're not trying to shoot holes in your childhood, but we feel it's our duty to point out that learning the Song of Storms in N64's Ocarina of Time made absolutely no sense. Going by the game's narrative, an older Link learns the song from Guru Guru at the windmill in Kakariko Village, who tells him that some kid played the song and caused the windmill to go berserk. that later turns out to be you, as later a younger version of Link was the one who taught Guro Guro the song. But then, where did this song come from to begin with? Did it literally just manifest out of thin air? Probably not. Number 5. Not recognizing Makarov. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Remember, no Russian.
It's no secret that airport security was dramatically beefed up after the 9/11 attacks. Makarov's plan is to frame the United States for killing innocent civilians to ignite a war with Russia, and then shoot an undercover American agent to use as the fall guy.
That was no message. This is a message.
So, how did a game that's released in 2009 that takes place in 2016 have the world's most feared and well-known terrorist walk into a heavily monitored airport, massacre hundreds of people, and still remain unnoticed after the deed was done? Surely one of the thousands of security cameras had to have captured footage of Makarov's uncovered face. Plus, it's not like the concept of undercover agents is unheard of, so this is just an insane reach in logic.
The Americans thought he could deceive us. When they find out lie, all of Russia will cry for war.
Number 4. Is Canada actually safe for androids? Detroit, Become Human.
The last bus for the border leaves at midnight. You absolutely have to be on it. You'll be safer on the other side.
In an obvious historical nod to the Underground Railroad, where American slaves escaped to freedom in Canada, Detroit Become Human has androids Kara and Alice attempting to flee to Canada to avoid repressive android laws in the United States. But the game also states that androids are illegal in Canada, and even shows an android trying to pass Canadian customs being shot on sight in a public building, no less.
Android! No, no, wait! Ah, there's gotta be a mistake! Please! No!
With a shoot on-site policy, how could Canada be safer than the USA? The childlike android Alice not growing up would make her easily noticeable. Also, this whole story about Canada having highly repressive immigration laws makes no sense, because Canada has historically had one of the most liberal immigration policies in the world, even under conservative leaders.
No need to be scared anymore, little girl. There are no androids on this side of the border.
Number 3. Ethan's Blackouts. Heavy Rain. We'd forgive you for thinking that Ethan was the origami killer all along, seeing as he suffers from unexplainable blackouts throughout the game and then comes to holding origami figures. But it turns out this was a red herring. So when it's revealed that he's not the killer, surely the game would explain why he was blacking out all the time, right? No, the explanation was cut from the game and only appears in a making of documentary.
The idea was that when Ethan had his blackouts, he would find himself in a sort of nightmare, lost in the ruins of a house underwater.
Originally, Ethan had some sort of paranormal connection to the killer, but the developers wanted to set their game more firmly in reality. So they cut this entire story arc from the game and left the reason for Ethan's blackouts as, well, nothing. There's no reason.
These scenes were not retained in the end because they made the story too complex and introduced a paranormal element that added nothing to the story.
Number 2. Unneeded Sacrifice. Fallout 3.
If I'm reading this right, I'm afraid there are lethal levels of radiation inside the chamber.
At the end of the game, you're left with a choice. Enter a chamber filled with radiation in order to fix a vital water purifier, or send Sarah Lyons in.
Not exactly how I imagined going out, you know?
Either way, all that radiation signals certain death for whoever goes in. There's just one catch, however. One companion, the super mutant Fox, is immune to radiation, and thus any death can be avoided. But just like the microwave hall, Fox refuses this very simple task for a weak reason, all for the sake of making the game more dramatic.
No, I'm sorry, my companion, but no. We all have our own destinies.
This undermines everything up to this point. The player is left feeling like they just spent tons of hours working towards a completely unnecessary heroic sacrifice. This hole was so big that Bethesda released DLC to fix it.
Of course! My immunity to radiation makes me a far better candidate for surviving in there.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Once Bitten, Not Turned. Resident Evil and Dead Rising series. It's pretty common pop culture knowledge that once you're bitten by a zombie, you'll eventually turn into one. Yet, when we think of Resident Evil or Dead Rising, by the time we reach the end credits in these games, we've been bitten so many times we've lost count. In these games, we just pop some herbs or food into our character like it's some kind of cutting-edge zombie vaccine. Other zombie franchises like Left 4 Dead or Dead Island establish that the heroes are naturally immune to the zombie virus, but this is never explained in any of Capcom's titles. Still, let's be real here. If zombie bites were contagious, these games would be over after just one bite. Does that sound fun? I don't think so. For more gaming videos, check out our spin-off channel, Mojo Plays, for in-depth reviews, thoughtful video essays, detailed origins, and insightful commentary. Mojo Plays.